Good morning, everyone. My name is Amarjyot Sandhu, and I'm the Member of Provincial Parliament from the great riding we're standing in today. So welcome to Brampton West. I would like to thank Premier Ford, Minister Mulroney, and P.A. Grewal for joining us for this wonderful and important announcement. We're also pleased to join by Mayor Patrick Brown, Deputy Mayor Kirat Singh, and the entire council members for this important announcement. Before I would pass on to Mayor Patrick Brown, I would like to thank Premier Ford for giving Brampton its fair share, which was long overdue. Brampton has always remained the center of attention for Premier Ford. We're getting a new hospital, we're getting a medical school, we're getting Highway 413, and Brampton is finally getting its fair share. So thank you, Premier Ford, for showing Brampton so much love in the last 4 years. And there's a lot of good things happening in Brampton, and lots of good things that will be happening in the next 4 years. Now I would like to pass on to Mayor Patrick Brown for his remarks. Thank you.
Well, thank you, MPP Sandhu, for your outstanding advocacy for Brampton. I want to thank Premier Ford for being here today. Every time he comes to Brampton, we get excited because it means another announcement, and we've had a string of great announcements with the med school and obviously the second hospital, and now this commitment to transit is exciting for the city of Brampton. I want to acknowledge that we have members of our city council here today. Our Deputy Mayor Harkirat Singh, we've got Councillor Paul Vasante, Councillor Dennis Keenan, Councillor Rod Power, I hope I haven't missed Councillor Gurpratap Tour, and we're very proud of this partnership with the provincial government and the support that we've consistently had for transit and local infrastructure. And let me just say, in the city of Brampton, we have the fastest growing transit system in the country right now. We've seen 115% growth, so the type of provincial and federal support we get goes a long way to making sure we can get people moving in our city. I'd also say the pandemic was hard on Brampton. You know, we had more essential workers than probably any other big city in the country, and our transit operators were unsung heroes. I know Frank Vanny and the group from A2U are here today. They were unsung heroes that went to work every day. These essential workers kept the country's supply chain together, and the fact that the province and the federal government are making sure that there are no shortfalls because of that courage and determination to keep our country moving during a difficult period, we're grateful for. So on behalf of the city of Brampton, I want to thank Premier Ford for his consistent support of the city of Brampton and for this announcement today. And welcome back to the city of Brampton, and please come as often as possible when it means announcements for our city.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Caroline Mulroney, Minister of Transportation and Francophone Affairs. Bonjour à tous. It's a pleasure to be here in Brampton alongside the Premier, Mayor Brown, my parliamentary assistant, MPP Grewal, the member for Brampton East, also the member for Brampton West, MPP Sandhu, and so many friends and colleagues to make an exciting announcement for municipalities and transit riders across the province. It's no secret that every aspect of our lives relies on a safe and efficient transit system. Whether you're going to work, school, or the grocery store, public transit is vital to the success of our communities. And as Minister of Transportation, myself and my parliamentary assistant have spoken firsthand with municipal leaders across Ontario, including right here in Brampton, about how we can continue to work together to keep Ontario moving. Our government has heard from our municipal partners loud and clear. They need our support after a tough year. And under Premier Ford's leadership, we are delivering. Because commuters deserve nothing less than a transit system that gets them where they need to go every day. And with that, I'll turn it over to Premier Ford. Thank you. Je vous remercie.
Well, good morning, everyone, and it's always great to be back in Brampton. I always remind the mayor that I lived here for 5 years when we first got married, and boy, has it changed. It's really thrived and prospered. And I also want to thank the hardworking folks here. Frank, thank you and your team. You're absolutely magnificent. The people that drive the buses, maintain the buses, all the logistics, so you're all absolute champions. I want to thank Minister Mulrooney for a very kind introduction and for her tireless work helping to build Ontario's transportation network. Whether it's Highway 413, the Bradford Bypass, or public transit systems across Ontario, there's no better champion for drivers and transit riders than Minister Mulrooney. And thank you to Mayor Brown. The mayor's doing an incredible job here in Brampton. He is a mayor that wants to work with us to build homes, and I'm very, very grateful for that, Mayor. And also, I always say my two all-stars, I have many all-stars in Brampton, here's two of them, MPP Amarjot Sandhu and MPP Hardeep Gurwal, who are here with us today. My friends, the pandemic took a heavy toll on every aspect of our lives in Ontario. Public transit was no exception. As people stayed home to protect themselves, transit ridership numbers fell. Less riders meant less fares, leaving public transit systems facing significant revenue shortfalls. And while ridership has since recovered, the financial impacts must be addressed head on. We heard the municipalities loud and clear when they told us public transit still needs help. That's why, together with our federal partners, we provided over $2 billion, that's with a B, $2 billion in funding to transit agencies over the past 2 years. Now, we're flowing another $505 million in funding to help keep transit moving in municipalities right across Ontario, including right here in Peel Region. It's never been more important for us to invest in transit. Our population, folks, as you hear me all the time, our population is expected to grow by 300,000 people every year for the next 10 years. So we'll see 3 million more people living here in 10 years. Now, more than ever, we must step up, I should say, and invest in public transit that Ontarians depend on. And that's exactly what we're doing. Our government is working non-stop to fight gridlock and get Ontario moving, making historic transit investments in every corner of this province. We're breaking ground on the Ontario line in downtown Toronto, expanding GO train service from east to west, and bringing back the Northlander passenger rail line to service Ontarians living in northern regions of our province. We're getting Ontario workers to and from their workplace faster, meaning more time at home with their family and less time stuck in gridlock. And as we build transit for a growing province, we also need to build homes. Our government has an ambitious plan to build 1.5 million homes over the next 10 years. Now more than ever, we need local leaders who are committed to building more homes that more people can afford. Homes for newcomers in search of the Canadian dream. Homes for young families looking to put down their roots. I know my friend Mayor Brown is fully committed to building homes, and I thank him for his partnership and the partnership of so many other mayors across Ontario. It's this sort of pro-growth perspective we need as we look to expand strong mayor powers to select municipalities. Because what our government is doing is taking the most innovative solutions and applying them province-wide. For example, our plan cuts municipal fees and taxes on rental units and waives these same municipal fees and taxes on affordable and attainable housing so we can build more homes that Ontario families can afford. That's similar to what so many municipalities are already doing, including right here in Brampton, as well as in Kitchener and Hamilton and Barrie and Cambridge and Peterborough and elsewhere, where they know there's a need for more affordable housing options. Like our government, these municipalities know that we're in a housing crisis, and the only way to solve it is to build more homes. Stalling and constantly saying no with no solutions, it will only make the crisis worse, especially as our government continues to grow. So our government is going to work with local leaders like Mayor Brown to say yes. Together, we will build Ontario. Thank you, and God bless the people of Ontario. Thank you.
If reporters could please line up at the microphone behind me, we'll now go to the floor for questions. If you can please identify yourselves by name and outlet, we'll go to the first question. Thanks.
Hey, good morning, Premier Colin DeBello from Global News.
Hi, Colin.
Your health minister and your government has repeatedly said that you were planning for the current crunch of pediatric care beds in Ontario's hospitals, and this was part of the plan for the respiratory flu season. Did your plan include canceling surgeries and having the Red Cross come in to help hospitals?
Well, thanks for that, Colin. What we've done with our healthcare system, we brought on over 14,000 new nurses, and we still have a few weeks in the year. Within those nurses, there's going to be pediatric nurses helping out. What we've heard from the chief medical officer is kind of leveling off here in Toronto. I know we had a spike out in Chio, out in Ottawa. I had a conversation through text messaging back and forth with Alex Munter, and as I said before, he thinks outside the box. We're adding more beds. We've added over 3,000. We're adding another 3,500 beds on top of that. We're putting $40 billion into 50 projects across Ontario, and we're throwing everything we can at the healthcare system. Just in the last, since I think it was 2019 or 2017, there's 100,000 more healthcare folks that have been hired. As you heard the mayor, we're building a medical school right here in Brampton, graduating more doctors, and out in Scarborough as well. So there's a tremendous amount of things that we're doing. I know Chio's having a few bumps in the road, but they're going to be okay.
So help me understand something here. You just said that your government is throwing everything at the problem. If you're throwing everything at the problem, why would CHEO need to call in the Red Cross? I mean, this is not an Ontario government organization. They're not part of Ontario Health. This is an extra set of hands that they need to come in to help in with a crisis. So how is your government throwing everything at the problem when you have CHEO clearly in need of extra support that your government is not providing?
Well, thanks for the statement there. Thanks, Colin.
That was a question, Brandon.
Okay,
that was a question.
Thank you, Colin. So again, we've had a great relationship with CHEO, and as Alex Munter reminded me, when Ottawa and other regions were in crisis, he went in there and he supported other hospitals, similar to what's happening in Ottawa, no matter if it's Queensway or Ottawa General. One region, they stick together. Cam over the CEO over at Ottawa does a phenomenal job as well. So it's one region. And by the way, they're the only pediatric hospital in that region. So sometimes they may see a spike. But thanks for the question.
Hi, Premier. It's Cynthia Mulligan from City News.
Hi, Cynthia.
Moments before you started speaking, Premier, the Bank of Canada raised interest rates yet again, this time by 50 basis points. I'm curious, you've talked about affordability and your concerns for people when it comes to affordability. What do you think about yet another interest rate hike? Is it too much?
Yeah, I know. Thank you for that question, Cynthia. I just don't like raising interest rates, and I understand their philosophy. They want to cool down inflation, but what we're hearing that hopefully in April, May, and June we're going to see the inflation level off. But just increasing interest rates constantly, personally I don't believe in it. But that's up to the Bank of Canada to do what they have to do. I believe in keeping interest rates low, keeping taxes low, putting more money into people's pockets. They'll go out and they'll go and spend that. They'll invest it. They'll put an addition on their home. They may, you know, as simple as going out for dinner. That's what stirs the economy, not making it more difficult. Our energy costs as well. You know, probably 35% of inflation is due to energy costs. Getting goods from the manufacturing facilities into the stores, and that costs money. Gas prices going up, that costs money. We've cut 10 cents per liter off gas. I'm asking the federal government, even temporarily, cut the carbon tax, cut 11 cents. That would be massive if they could cut 11 cents per liter. We just need to put more money into people's pocket and help them out through tough times.
Thank you. My next question, Premier, is about Bill 39. It is set to pass tomorrow. There's been a lot of pushback on it. Ottawa Council, including the Mayor, has overwhelmingly rejected it. 15 Toronto City Councillors have written a letter to you and Minister Steve Clark asking you not to go forward with it. Yeah. These are the two city councils that are starting with it, and the majority are rejecting it. Why are you still pushing forward with it under accusations that this is trampling on democracy?
Well, that's not trampling on democracy. What's trampling on democracy is, let's use Mayor Tory, for example. Mayor Tory got more votes than all the councillors combined. And so having a councillor that scrapes in with 3,000 votes and has the same voting power as the mayor, that's what's trampling on democracy. They all want to hold on to their power. I get it. I've been down there. But at the end of the day, it's the mayor that's standing in front of the microphone like I do, answering all the tough questions, being held accountable. He's responsible for running the city. And for him to have one vote, that's just not acceptable. So that's up to the mayor. It's going to be up to the council. And hopefully they'll work things out.
Hi, Premier. Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
Hi, Siobhan.
Still on Bill 39, we have heard from a number of planners at the city level, not just politicians, that really question this idea that the bill is about expediting construction of housing. So what is it really about? Because there's a lot of doubt around that.
Well, it's about expediting, making a decision. Rather than taking, and this happens, well, if you want to talk Toronto, it can take 4 or 5 years to get a building permit. That's unacceptable. The mayor has to have the authority to direct staff and hire senior levels of staff. That wasn't in there before. So now, as he's held accountable for everything that goes on in the city, he has to have the authority to make moves. It's like running a large corporation and the CEO, he can't make any decisions. So he's going to be able to make decisions, move things forward, and I have confidence that he's going to do exactly that.
And you raised these concerns about affordability in the current climate. So how do you justify then not doing more for people who are on ODSP beyond the 5% increase you've already done?
Well, if you look at other governments, they didn't do anything. At least we're putting 5% on the table as an increase. We're creating a climate for people that can work to go out there and work. And I've always said, if you physically or mentally cannot work, we'll take care of you. But if you can work, if you're on Ontario Works and you're healthy mind, healthy body, there's endless employment opportunities. You can walk down every street in this province and find a job in every single sector. We need 380,000 people to fill the existing jobs that we have right now. So I encourage anyone sitting at home, and you're able to work, you have to get out there and find gainful employment.
Hi, Mirna Jukic for Radio Canada. The question is actually for Minister Mulroney. Bonjour, on vient de recevoir le rapport annuel de la commissaire Burke. Elle décrit le cas d'une aînée francophone mourante qui, dans un hôpital désigné, bilingue du nord de l'Ontario, s'est fait demander de parler anglais. Est-ce que c'est normal, en 2022, qu'on entende encore parler de ce genre d'histoire?
Écoutez, j'ai été très triste d'apprendre le cas de cette femme qui était dans l'hôpital dans ces derniers jours et ce n'est pas acceptable. Et c'est pour ça que notre gouvernement a travaillé si fort à moderniser la loi pour les services en français. On a créé le règlement sur l'offre active pour assurer des services de qualité pour les francophones à travers la province.
I'll ask my follow-up in English. It's about the Eglinton Crosstown LRT. Is there a credible plan to complete the Eglinton Crosstown LRT? And if so, when will it open?
Look, I know people are frustrated by the delays that have been plaguing the Eglinton Crosstown project for so long. Our government is focused on making sure that it is safely operational as soon as possible.
This will be the last question.
Good morning, Premier. This is Prabhu from Parvasi. So, what is the government policy for EV? And do you think by 2030, Ontario will have enough infrastructure to support a complete switch to electric vehicles?
Yeah, that's a great question. We made that fantastic announcement over at General Motors with the federal government, and that's going to be way of the future. We're putting millions and millions of dollars into charging stations right across this province, no matter if it's in the hockey arenas or on routes, and as the market dictates, the charging stations will dictate as well. But it was a great announcement yesterday with General Motors investing over $2 billion into the plant there, or at the CAMI plant. We just look forward to continue growing the auto sector. In the last 2 years, we've seen $16 billion of investment and over 100,000 jobs created that are long-term jobs, good-paying jobs. And then there's the spin-off jobs that come from that, 8 to 1 in the auto sector. So we're going to continue building. We're going to continue building roads and highways and transit to get people around from point A to point B.
Thank you.
Another question?
You want me again?
Yeah, go ahead. Okay. Yeah?
Thanks so much for.
Okay, well, I just want to add, about, the situation where we're looking at building homes. Folks, I have to tell you, there's 300,000 people coming here every single year. And I know we have a few mayors that, that don't want to play in the sandbox, and one being Mayor Crombie, and I don't know what her issue is, but I'll just give you an example. We have an ambitious target. I'm going to use Mississauga because I used Toronto before, of Mississauga building 120,000 homes over the next 10 years. That's about 12,000 homes every year, and that's far from the city's current annual average of 2,100. And you can't, the definition of insanity is continue doing the exact same thing over and over again and expect a different result. And that's not going to work. I see that Mayor Crombie's out there handing out flyers and doing this. All I say is get on board, stop being disingenuous, with the people of Mississauga. It's just absolutely wrong. Mississauga has increased their fees on new home buyers by nearly 30% in the last 2 years alone. In fact, Mississauga adds every single home that's built adds $126,000 to the price of that home, and that's tough on newcomers that are coming here and families that have kids that are growing up. They want to buy a home, or if your grandchildren want to buy a home. It's very simple. It's like economics 101, supply and demand. And when you have 300,000 people coming to our province, and we just sit back and a couple municipalities, Mississauga being one, saying, oh, we can't do that. We can't do this. Mississauga brings in more than $34 million each year in municipal taxes on home buyers. Each Each year, they're spending about 25 million or less than 75% of those funds. And for parkland fees, Mississauga brings in more than 17 million annually, and they only spend $9 million, or 53% each year. And they're holding 271 million of those funds collected in reserves. So I'd also like to point out that the city waives, this is the ironic thing, folks. We have Mayor Crombie complaining about our fees, but the city waives similar fees to encourage building office space downtown, and I'm all for that. But you can't say one thing one day and say you're against it, and then you go the next day and do exactly what we're asking you to do. I'm asking for a partnership with Mayor Crombie, Mayor Tory, all the other mayors. If we sit back and think some magical thing's going to happen, or you think when people come here we're going to start living in mud huts, it's not going to happen under our government. We want to work collaboratively, cooperatively with you, but we need to get on board and start moving forward and stop the whining and complaining that I hear day in and day out. Anyways, folks, all the very best. We're going to continue building transit. We're going to continue building homes. Thank you. God bless.